Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're discussing the designer's notes that were released a couple days ago for Rainbow Six Siege. We actually learn a lot about the meta and where things are headed into Year 5 Season 1, but today I also wanted to take the time to have a very important conversation about Wamai and Jaeger, because it's become more and more clear that something must be done about these two in particular, so let's get on with it. Firstly, we can take a look at the pick rate and win rate for the attackers, and wow, at first glance, there's a substantial difference with this data over last season. The biggest thing to point out here, at least for me, is that Ashe is back. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Zen, Ashe never left. She's always been one of the top operators, and I agree, yes. But the operators that have competed with her for her top spot have fell significantly, and Ashe is consistently holding her top attacker position. So Jackal is ahead, at least in presence indefinitely, but this is of course because of pick and ban and its effect on these graphs. Given the fact Jackal is almost always banned, when he isn't banned, his pick rate remains very high, and so until there's more accessible time with this operator, you'll most likely see him as one of the highest picked ops. Twitch had literally one season as the most popular attacker, and since then, Ashe has steadily crept up past her and Zofia, who had her beat last season, to being the most popular attacker this time around. Now, considering Twitch could be looking at a nerf very soon here, and Zofia has recently been nerfed, unless a new operator is introduced that's top tier, there really isn't anything that can even compete with Ashe in the meta, which means ultimately we could be seeing yet another nerf to this operator to reduce her effectiveness. The last thing to consider here is that lately the community have been expressing that Siege is becoming more and more frag heavy, and personally I can't think of a better example of a fragging op than Ashe, so the fact she's back to being the top operator on attack isn't super surprising. I've got to be honest and say that I'm not sure what can really be done about this, but yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them, but I think with the upcoming nerf to aim down sight time and two new operators on the horizon, hopefully we see a dramatic shift in the meta. Now, two other operators catch my attention here, and that's Kali and Twitch. Kali can be such an effective operator, and I don't think there's any denying her utility, but she's up against Thatcher, the one and only, and her CSRX just can't hold up. When she first came out, she looked very strong, but after a few weeks, it's been pretty apparent that you either have amazing aim and can flick onto targets consistently, or you're one of the easiest targets for a defender to take out. Kali, I mean, really, she is a solid operator, but I wouldn't know where to start in buffing her. The utility is great, the weapon can be good, it's just the fundamentals of the game that she can't keep up with. In Siege, the headshot is king, and Kali isn't really about getting headshots at all. It is incredibly satisfying to get them with this op, but she just can't miss, and typically if she does, a weapon like the MP5 will just rip her apart. Twitch, on the other hand, has been slowly and steadily decreasing in popularity. Over the past 2 seasons, since she was the top pick, she's continually moved backwards on these graphs, and it is interesting. I think we're all kind of expecting an F2 nerf announcement anytime at this point because of how dominant that weapon has been, and so Twitch may continue to move backwards. IQ, on the other hand, is slowly moving up, and I think the obvious reason is the empire that is Legion. IQ is able to see goo through her electronics detector, and that utility is big in this meta. I also think vertical play is becoming commonplace now, and IQ is solid there as well, and so only time will tell for these two and how far these roles kind of switch. Finally, looking at the ban rates of the attackers, and really to no one's surprise, Jackal is banned 70% of the time, followed up by Blackbeard and Thatcher. Even after the nerf and rework, players would just rather not have Jackal there, and so throughout Year 5, I do see more updates being made to him. Blackbeard is actually doing what he usually does, and finds a way to creep up into relevancy, gets a little too close for comfort, and then a nerf sends him back into reality. I think if Blackbeard continues to be banned at the rate that he is, then that frustration element may be a lead factor in a future adjustment to him. But that's really the meta as a whole on attack, guys. I think right now we are looking at a faster paced attacking round, and over the course of the year, I would like to see that scale more towards tactics and utility. But now we can move over to the defenders, and to be honest with you guys, there's only one conversation I feel it's important to have here, and it's about Wamai and Jaeger. Look, I think Wamai needs a considerable buff to even hold a candle to Jaeger. Like, from my perspective, he's clearly the less of the two. Jaeger is yet again off of the chart, and the inclusion of Wamai has made no difference. You guys get it by now. Jaeger's formula is amazing. Essential utility, a powerful weapon, and a fast 3-speed operator. He's useful on every objective in the game, and because of how baked in he is, you almost never see him banned. Now I think it's pretty simple. Wamai needs more magnets and also a decrease in the time between magnets. Jaeger can take out 6 projectiles and Wamai only 5. Yes, Wamai does have the versatility of the magnet and it is silent, but it is still less, and so most people take that into consideration. Another factor is that Wamai has to wait 40 seconds or so before he gets another magnet, and personally, I feel that's too much time when we're talking about projectiles. It's a little different with a trap like Goo because the attackers have to progress through the map before actually stepping on them. The point is that if you want to be fully protected from grenades at the start of the round, you still need Jaeger, and it's another reason he'll remain this popular. For me, I think the sweet spot is 6 magnets and to reduce the time in between each by 5 seconds. It'll make Wamai a little more active during the round and allow for a bit more coverage early on. From a weapon standpoint, I think after the 416 nerf, where Jaeger will now have 38 damage instead of 43, the AUG will now be the more powerful weapon, and it could actually go a long way for Wamai. I know it's still early, but the fact that Wamai couldn't even get Jaeger back on the chart signals there's still some change needed there to get the balance in order here. Beyond that, for the future of these graphs, I'll be really interested in seeing what happens with Maestro next season after he loses his ACOG, and also Echo once he gets his big nerf. Defense is currently being led by Lesion, Valkyrie, and Mira, outside of Jaeger of course, which means a heavy emphasis on intel. I'm actually shocked that we're yet another season in and still no update or anything said at all about Mira. She is the most banned defender in the game, being banned over 80% of the time, and there is nothing going on with her. She also has a better overall standing than Echo, who was recently hit hard, and so it's curious why nothing is being updated about Mira. There is always the fact that for the most part she serves her purpose and is balanced. It's just the community, particularly in these higher ranks, would just rather not have her there. Now, she did recently lose her deployable, but that's really it. She gained access to barbed wire, which is great, but the rest of her is basically untouched since her launch. With a ban rate this high, there's gotta be something planned for the future of her, but for that, we'll just have to wait and see. But guys, as far as the data, that's it. The devs do give a bit about an update on Lesion, and yes, there are some plans to make him less frustrating to play against. A lot of people have had a lot of opinions on Lesion, but what I hear most is to take away the damage caused by Goo. That way, you can't kill or down someone when they're really low health, or it's a 1v1 situation. I have heard other extremes, like putting a timer on the invisibility, or kind of treating it like Echo's drones, but that seems just a bit too far for him. Now, I absolutely love Lesion as an operator. He's been one of my favorites ever since I got my hands on him, but it's definitely accurate to at least take a look at him because he is very strong. So it should also be noted that the latest patch addresses a lot of this data, like the nerf to Jaeger and Echo. It also makes changes to the ADS time, which again should slow down things a bit. If you guys want the full details for the patch, including the removal of Maestro's ACOG, then check out the video linked in the description. But that's it, guys. That's everything to discuss here. Let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy? Does Wamai need a buff at all, or is it just Jaeger being so good? And I guess that's the end of it. Leave everything in a comment down below. If you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen. Thanks for watching. I'm out.